The reading today is from the book of Matthew, chapter 15, verses 21 to 28. Jesus left that place and went away to the district of Tyre and Sidon. Just then, a Canaanite woman from that region came out and started shouting, "Have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David. My daughter is tormented by a demon." But he did not answer her at all. And his disciples came and urged him, saying, "Send her away, for she keeps shouting after us." He answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." But she came and knelt before him, saying, "Lord, help me." He answered, "It is not fair to take the children's food and throw it to the dogs." She said, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table." Then Jesus answered her, "Woman, great is your faith. Let it be done for you as you wish." And her daughter was healed. This week at Manly on Sunday morning, we gathered around in our reflective group and discussed some of the aspects of this challenging piece of scripture. It's not the Jesus we normally like to think about, some of the things he said and did in this reading. Last week we heard how Jesus in chapter 14 took 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes, lifted the loaves to heaven, gave thanks to his Father, and multiplied these loaves and fed 5,000 men plus women and children. But this week we're going to reflect on what it is about crumbs that turns the attention to Jesus this week. Our first reflection point was about boundaries. Jesus, in his own words, said, "I'm only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel," the Jews. And this time in the reading is the only time that Jesus was outside of the Jewish territory. It was the beginning for him of breaking out the message of Christ to all people. And it actually starts with this Canaanite lady that we read about today. He was in, if you like, uncharted, unclean territory. But it's this place that Jesus took his disciples to. If you like, he crossed the boundaries of comfort and what was, well, appropriate and godlike in his day. Soon, Jesus will give the disciples the Great Commission, a mission to all nations. But right now, his path crosses with this Canaanite woman, and she challenges everything. So a reflection point was, what boundaries might you think of today, reading this scripture? What boundaries do you think that Jesus might cross today? If he was right with us at this moment, physically, what boundaries might he challenge in our day and time? The next reflection was titled God's Dinner Table. Jesus stated what was quite true back in his day. It is not fair to take the children's food and throw it to the dogs. Or to put it another way, it's not right to take God's message or messenger and hand it to just anyone. But this is the day, if you like, that the gospel fell from its exclusive table. As awful as it sounds, this Canaanite lady said something that brought Jesus to silence. "Lord, even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs." Many, including myself, find this passage difficult. How could Jesus actually say this? But it's written in a time and a place of Jesus' life when people actually thought that. Later, Jesus will ask his disciples, "Who do you say that I am?" So in a sense, he's shaping up the image and identity that they have of Jesus and God. So God's dinner table in this reading just got a whole lot larger. Today, in our world, our reflection is, who might we identify that feels like this Canaanite woman? Who might feel that they're not welcome at God's dinner table? The next reflection point we got to was on faith. Firstly, for me, this lady is one of the great heroes of the Bible. A lot of heroes in the Bible were women. And firstly, when it comes to God, she confronts race, gender, cultural, and religious bias. Any one of these topics could have meant instantaneous death for someone who challenged them. Secondly, the driving force behind this woman was one word, and that was love. It was the unfettered love for her daughter. My daughter is tormented, she said. I don't think there would have been a limit to what this lady would have gone to help her child. Now, similar to those last week who followed Jesus into the wilderness without food or water, she knew, maybe even intuitively, that Jesus had something to offer, something that was well beyond the doctrine of election of Israel, which for her meant she could receive and should receive mercy and receive healing for her daughter. So our reflection point was, what did Jesus see in this woman? He saw something that reduced him in that moment to absolute silence. And it broke the gospel open, the food of God open to all people that day. What was it that he saw?